to an upscale restaurant. We taste the food from the restaurant to pair with each one of those wines, and we have a great time doing it. We talk about the wines, we talk about the food, talk about the restaurant, and of course that's about it.
All on CRN. Don't miss it.
Welcome to Divine Love Talk with Dr. Parthenia Grant, where we talk about health, well-being, and the love of the divine that exists in all of us. Now, here's your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
All right. I am so happy to be back at CRN after being away a month with a broken foot and a broken toe. You can't imagine how good it feels to be in these boots and out of a wheelchair and just able to get around on my own. Today we're starting off the new year with Kim Michaels' trilogy of books. He loves to do these trilogies, and I love them. It's A Course in Abundance. Kim Michaels, welcome back. Do we have Kim? Oh, wait, maybe my volume is not up. Here we go. Kim? All right. Okay. Well, Kim is there. He'll be on in a minute. But today, we're going to be talking about, why the earth is not experiencing the abundant life, why it's not being manifest on earth, and what we can do about it. Did I hear Kim's voice? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Okay, Kim. I'm so excited to be back. You have no idea what it feels like to be out of a wheelchair, not being reliant on other people, and being able to walk around, even if they are in these big boots that are, designed to be a cast. But I'm getting around, and I'm very grateful for that.
That sounds great.
But Kim, I wanted to start out a series on A Course in Abundance because it's the new year, and I finished reading your I have Mind Over Matter, which is one in the trilogy of The Course in Abundance, and I finished reading Master Keys to the Abundant Life. So could you tell your readers the difference between Master Keys to the Abundant Life and this trilogy that you're calling A Course in Abundance?
Well, basically, the new books are just Master Keys to the Abundant Life that are split up into 3 separate books. So the same discourses that were in the old one are now divided up into 3 with 8 in each one. But then each of the new books also has an invocation for each chapter or each discourse.
Got it.
So instead of just reading it, you are actually actively doing the invocation along with studying a discourse. So it gives you a whole different way to really embody the material.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wanted to know myself because when I went to your bookstore, I couldn't find the old book on abundance, and I thought that maybe you were replacing them, but I wasn't sure if I was going to have to buy the new set again. So that's good news.
Right.
And actually, I like the idea of you breaking it up into 3 because the other book is really huge and it's pretty, pretty arduous. And I like the title, A Course in Abundance, because it reminds people of the Course in Miracles. And I loved doing that year-long course. It made me feel really good, as if I had it was like a major accomplishment going through that 1 page at a time or 1 course at a time for 365 days.
Yeah, and that is a great course. And I think for all of the people who have done that and maybe are looking for something else, then this A Course in Abundance is a good way to go.
Well, I know that around the world, with the economic structures changing, so many systems are collapsing. I'm getting a lot of questions from young people about what can they do to bring more abundance into their life. And what I noticed, because I had just finished rereading Esther Hicks' Money and the Law of Attraction, and I couldn't, what I always look for is continuity and universal truths. And what I noticed is that Esther Hicks is saying essentially the same thing that your Course in Abundance is saying, just using different terminology. And of course, your Course in Abundance goes into a lot more historical detail about, why we are not experiencing the abundant life here on Earth. And I thought I'd open up with a quote from Esther Hicks, which really fits in with your book, where she says that words are thoughts that are articulated, but that action is responsible for only a minuscule part of what actually comes to us in terms of abundance. She said that your thoughts and words are the reason that your life unfolds as it does. And a big part of your work is the spoken word, with the invocations and the decrees and the rosaries. And of course, thought is, I think, the biggest challenge that all of us have here on the planet. How to control our thoughts, or maybe transform our thoughts from focusing on the lack of what we don't have, the things that we don't have, versus focusing on creating abundance, and focusing on the things that we actually want versus the things that we don't want. It's so simple, but at the same time, because of our programming, it's a discipline. I guess that's the word I would use for it. And in your work, you clearly are extremely disciplined to be putting forth the volumes that you're able to release literally almost every month.
Yeah, but that's also because I have been doing this for a very, very long time, as you said, with the spoken word. And I think, I know a lot of people who have been into all kinds of spiritual things, and I make a distinction between spiritual teachings that only teach you something, and then spiritual teachings that have some kind of active technique for putting it into practice.
Right.
And that's the unique thing about the Ascended Masters and the spoken word. And this new course, The Mind Over Matter, and the other three books, the other two books, The Course in Abundance, for every discourse, you get an understanding, but then you have the invocation where you speak it out, and that helps bring it into manifestation in a whole different way than just thinking about it.
Right. And I noticed that a big problem that I have, and that's why I'm happy that you did redo it in this new format, is that, I'm, of course, an avid reader, and I process a lot of information, but at the same time, I will also forget a lot of it as quickly as I read it, unless there is some practical application. And I do experience the benefit of the spoken word, because it just kind of drowns out all that other noise and the negativity. And I can also feel the energetic uplift whenever I do the invocations. So could you, for people in the audience who have no clue what an invocation is or what a decree is, I think most Catholic people are used to rosaries, which, have this, most of them have some kind of rhyming pattern, but could you break the three of those down?
Yeah, I would like to say something first just about the general aspect of it, because I have seen it myself, and I've done it myself, where you read a book and it's profound and it gives you a lot of aha experiences, but just like you said, then you forget it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because we live in such an information-intensive world. We're just so bombarded with information. It's just so easy to take the information in, but it's so much more difficult to apply it,
Yes.
Walking your talk and all that stuff.
Right.
And that's why I think it is so important to recognize that the spoken word is an extremely powerful force, and it was sound that was used to create the entire universe and give it form.
Right.
And the spiritual beings who created the earth, they did this by using sound. Of course, they formulated a mental image, but then they used sound to make it physically manifest. And it's the same thing you are doing when you are using either a decree or an invocation or a rosary. You are simply creating a matrix that the energy can flow into. And sound is a very powerful way of doing this. We all know the power of music.
Right.
And I think a lot of spiritual people may be hesitant to speak something out loud the first time. You know, I know I was. When I first started doing decrees, for example, I had to hide away so nobody could hear me because, you know, I was very shy about it.
Exactly.
But once I realized the power in it, I felt like, wow, I've just been given the most amazing tool I've ever had. You know, it's so much more powerful than just contemplating. And so basically the invocations that are in the Course of Abundance, they are based on the discourse. So you first have a discourse that gives you a teaching about a certain facet of abundance and how to shift your mind. And then there are extracts from that discourse that are the backbone of the invocation. And in between those extracts, there are certain verses that rhyme and that invoke the presence of a particular ascended master, such as Mother Mary, which of course is the master who gave the course, but also Kuan Yin and several other female masters. And it's that combination, you know, the rhythmic giving of these verses that really brings the light in. And if anybody has ever remember Gregorian chants that were big a while ago.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
And this is the same thing. You are invoking the light, but it's actually, in my view, more powerful.
Yeah, and I think people who are familiar with anything Eastern, you know, they're familiar with mantras. And, of course, the New Age people are familiar with affirmations. And what I've found is that the invocations in your books combine all of them. They're the affirmations, and then there's the mantras, then there's I love the iambic pentameter, the rhyming rhythm, you know, that is incorporated in all of it, because it does put you into this rhythmic flow. And, you know, even in studying quantum physics, we know that, you know, everything is energy. We know that the universe does have sound patterns. You know, most of them we can't hear. But if you look at dogs, they can hear sounds that we can't hear. You know, animals are much more in tune to a whole nother dimension of sound that's not even available to our ears. But I think for people that are stuck in this place of, if I can't see it, hear it, feel it, taste it, touch it, or see it, then it's not real, then, you know, they are missing out on a lot of power that they have within themselves that they can call upon. So I just, you know, I know that I've been living the teachings from your website for several years now, and they have made all the difference in me transforming a lot of the darkness that we embody and transmuting it into light. And it's a daily practice. And I think that that's probably what most people have a hard time with. They want like a pill that you can take that will permanently bring abundance into your life, and not have to do the daily discipline of looking at your thoughts and asking, is this a thought that makes me feel good? Is this a thought that's going to get me where I'm trying to go? Or is this a thought that's going to take me further off of where I'm trying to go?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I feel that, you know, the invocations are just, it's such a difference. It just makes it so much more physical, and it makes it so much easier to live it instead of just reading about it.
Okay, well, after commercial break, we'll go into, I have a few quotes that will help the audience understand why the abundant life is not being manifest on earth and what we can do about it. I'm talking to my co-host Kim Michaels about his new Course in Abundance. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and joining me, my co-host Kim Michaels.
experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury? If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. And this time of the year, Columbo's makes office parties and holiday planning easy, delicious, and unforgettable. You've got enough to handle this time of the year. Why add to the worry list? Worry no more. Columbo's, 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. It's that easy. Mouth-watering, sizzling steaks, scrumptious seafood, Columbo's family Italian specialties, desserts to die for, jazz every night, the world's greatest meatballs, friendly and attentive service, all at an affordable price, makes Columbo's Holiday Party Central. Call Vic at Columbo's. Book your holiday party now. 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. Columbo's, Buon Natale. Mangia.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free in-home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Hi. I'm back with more of Divine Love Talk on CRN, and today I'm talking with my co-host Kim Michaels about his Course in Abundance and why the abundant life is not manifest on earth. Kim, in the book, it says that the abundant life is not manifest on earth because most human beings have not used their imagination, their free will, and their creative abilities according to their highest potential. They have used them to create lack. We have to transcend the state of consciousness that has created the current conditions on earth. Suffering, lack, and limitation are temporary realities that we choose to believe are permanent. The essential key to inheriting your Father's kingdom is to realize that you must use your free will to purify your imagination so that you can create the abundant life instead of continuing to create a life of limitation and suffering. Now, in a nutshell, that's really, really simple. And at the same time, I think it's extremely challenging for people to look at the mass consciousness or the collective unconscious and what we've created here on Earth and actually wrap our heads around the fact that we co-created this, that we have some responsibility because of the beliefs that we have bought into. So I'd like for you to elaborate on that, Kim.
Yes, well, of course it is difficult, and that's why we're in this catch-22, because we have been brought up not to take responsibility, And as a result of not taking responsibility, we can't do anything about it, so we're trapped.
Right.
And this is actually ties in with what we talked about with the invocations, because let's say that you're one person. You're living in, say, Los Angeles, big city, lots of people. If you are a sensitive person, you can feel anything about energy like I can. You can feel there's a heavy collective consciousness in a big city like that.
Yes.
So let's say that you decide that now I want to have more abundance in my life, and you go out and you get a course or a book and you start reading it and you start practicing positive mental attitude, and you create a treasure map with images of
right.
what you want, this wonderful house, a big car, this and that. And then it doesn't work. I mean, lots of people have experienced this. I have experienced it myself. I know a lot of people who have done this. They've been faithful. They have kept to the vision, but it just hasn't happened. And the key is to realize that when you are living, wherever you're living, there is a collective consciousness.
Yes.
And you are being pulled down by it, even though you may not be conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the invocations that are invoking the light and bringing it down through the 4 levels of the material universe into the physical, that's where they can help you free yourself from that gravitational pull of the mass consciousness.
Well, that's an excellent point, because, even when you're driving around a city as big as LA, you can feel the energy and the pull of the collective unconsciousness, which is different in every area of the city. When you go to the really affluent areas, you can feel, it just feels lighter. It's cleaner. There are more trees. There is more solitude and more serenity. And then when you go into the denser areas, you feel the pull of this lower vibration that's almost like depressing when you're in that area. And I know that it's very, very challenging if you live in that kind of situation where lack and limitation and poverty and struggle is everywhere around you, to try to invoke light into those circumstances when that's all you see. That, I think, probably has to be the most challenging circumstance for people to deal with. But at the same time, I'm someone who grew up in poverty and who grew up in lack. And I know that as a child, I always had that ability to not focus on what was around me and say, okay, this is temporary. This may be the reality that I'm in right now, but I have a vision, and I'm going to quote Martin Luther King, I have a dream of something bigger and better for me, and I focused my sights on what I wanted to achieve in my reality and not what was actually going on in my reality. Wow, that went by fast. So after commercial break, we're going to offer more tools about how you can create more abundance in your life and in your surroundings. I'm talking to my host, Kim Michaels, about his course in abundance, and we'll have more to offer after commercial break. You're listening to Divine Love Talk. I am your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kbhmaui.com. That's kbhmaui.com. Aloha.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel. Do you have unfiled tax returns or owe the IRS or state more than $10,000? If you don't take action now, your tax problem is going to get worse. Much worse. Seizure of property, bank levies, wage garnishments, and potential criminal prosecution. And if you owe the IRS back payroll taxes, chances are you will be visited at your home or business by an IRS agent. Don't become paralyzed by fear. Take action now. Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield for help. Our team of experienced tax attorneys can get you protected, stop collections, and negotiate a permanent settlement with the IRS and state, potentially saving you thousands of dollars. At U.S. Tax Shield, our tax advisors will review your case for free, inform you of your rights, and give you a guaranteed quote. No games and no tricky upsells. That's why we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Put an end to your torment. Get protected. Get the Shield. Call U.S. Tax Shield now at 800-211-8753. That's 800-211-8753. 800-211-8753.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Tonight, the two words you've been dying to hear.
You're fired.
NBC Celebrity Apprentice is back and as crazy good as ever.
She's a drama queen without a crown.
Featuring Geraldo Rivera, Lisa Gibbons, Gilbert Gottfried, Vivica A. Fox, and Keisha Knight Pulliam, Johnny Damon and Tara Owens, Captain Sig Hansen from Deadliest Catch, Ian Ziering, Lorenzo Lamas, 2 Olympic gold medalists, 1 Jonas brother, and 2 Real Housewives.
My butt is real, unlike hers.
Don't miss the all-new Celebrity Apprentice tonight on NBC.
The new year is upon us. 2015 is just around the corner. The View from Over Here still has a few sponsorship openings available for the new year. But don't delay. Contact Malcolm Berman at 818-687-2784 or email him at malcolm@viewfromoverhere.com before it's too late. For mere pennies, you can reach an upscale audience on internet radio, apps on your phone, cable TV, and at home. Go to viewfromoverhere.com to see and hear the live show. Again, that phone number 818-687-2784 or email malcolm@viewfromoverhere.com.
All right, we're back with more of Divine Love Talk on CRN, and I'm talking to my co-host Kim Michaels about his 3-volume set, A Course in Abundance. And being that it is the new year, I know that everybody is looking for ways to increase more abundance in their life. And I think that this course is an excellent place to begin. Kim, there's some really interesting information that was released in this book about how the earth was created, and I wanted to open with this quote that says, God created a planet that had the potential to manifest the abundant life, but did not yet have the abundant life in full physical manifestation. He then sent his sons and daughters into this world, and they had everything they needed. They had the creative abilities, they had the imagination and free will to take dominion over this planet and bring God's abundance into physical manifestation. Thereby, they could build on the foundation set by God so that through their own innate God-given abilities, the sons and daughters of God could build the kingdom of God on planet Earth. Now, what I found really fascinating about that quote is that it answered the whole creation story about, the metaphor of the 6 days, and then on the 7th day, God rested. And when I read that as a child, I went, well, did God get tired? Why did he rest? And then I would look around and go, well, is he ever going to stop resting? And this answered that whole creation story that he set it here and, gave it to us and said, take dominion over it, and look at the mess we've made out of it.
Yeah, but it isn't us alone who's made the mess. As we've talked about before on the show, there are some
fallen beings.
Yes, who are very dedicated to, not only do they not want to create abundance, they actually want to prevent us from creating abundance.
Sure. And what's really interesting about, and I know you call them the power elite too, but the power elite, what's really fascinating is I've read this book called Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, and he talks about how he calls the power elite the takers, and how the earth, gives us free food with the plants and the trees and the free water, the free air, and all of that. And the takers decided, let's just take all of this free food, that nature harvests and gives to us for free, and let's lock it up, and then make people have to work for it and pay for what was given to humanity for free. And we've bought into it, and we think that's normal. Now, as a child, I knew that. I thought something is really, really wrong with this whole picture, because, I would plant my little gardens and we had fruit trees and we lived on a couple of acres, and I thought, well, this is really how people are supposed to live. And don't you think that it's really, really ironic that we think that it's normal that food that is given to us for free is locked up, and we have to toil for it and pay for it in order to eat?
Yes, and what you're saying reminds me of what I felt as a child, because I always felt that you shouldn't actually have to work for money.
Right.
You should have to work for what's your mission, what you love doing.
Yes.
And you shouldn't have to spend all of your time and all of your energy on just working out a living.
Yes. Eking out a living.
Yeah. Struggling to just make ends meet and get the daily needs. It should just be there so that you had time left over to do something that was a service.
Exactly. And when I was studying the Essenes and their lifestyle, they devoted 4 hours a day to actual work for the whole community, and then there was 4 hours that they devoted to their devotion or their hobbies, and then the other 4 hours they devoted to play. And I think that's a perfect balance. You've got 4, 8, 12 hours there where it's really balanced out. And our lifestyle has absolutely no balance. It's work, work, work. You get home, you're too tired, and you just kind of vegetate because you're trying to eke out a living, and there is very little energy left over for creativity and fun. And what I'm learning from your Course in Abundance and from Esther Hicks' work is that if you don't allow time in there for play and for fun and laughter and creativity, you are pushing away the very things that you want because you're focusing on the lack of them versus what it is that you really want to manifest.
Yeah, and what is actually said in the Course in Abundance is also that you may have a conscious desire for more abundance, but you can easily have a subconscious belief or a pattern that's actually pushing it away from you.
Yes. And of course the collective unconscious, and the programming, which, we call the matrix, if we don't find a way to unplug from the matrix, then we can't create a new reality. And I find that, reading and doing the invocations, they actually allow me to unplug from the collective unconscious, living in a big city like LA, and of course turning off the news and, focusing on creating the reality that I want. I'm able to pull more of what I want into my reality versus the things that I don't want. And I remember Don Miguel Ruiz telling me when I spent some time with him in Teotihuacan that where we were headed was dreaming up a new dream for the planet versus the nightmare that we've created. And you have another quote in your book, about whether limitation is inevitable. And you explained something that I didn't understand about the word mammon. And the quote is, no servant, and this is from the Bible, can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And that's from Luke 16:13. And what you explained is that the interpretation of mammon is a symbol for the human state of consciousness, the state of accepting lack and limitation as inevitable. And I would say that the vast majority of the masses have accepted this state of consciousness as inevitable, that there's really nothing we can do about the poverty that is worldwide. And I think that that's one of the biggest problems that we face in terms of trying to create abundance.
Yes, and that ties in with what we talked about with the power elite, because these fallen beings have managed to get most people into a limited state of consciousness. And then they have attempted to lock the door and throw away the key, because they don't want us to know there's an alternative. They don't want us to get out of there. They don't want us to know the tools for getting out of there. And that's why this course really, what it does is it systematically, one step at a time, challenges all of these beliefs that we have been programmed to accept and that are actually causing us to do what you said, co-create a state of lack on the planet. Mm-hmm. And the course just challenges them one by one. And when you give the invocations along with it, I feel that you can really raise your consciousness above them. And you can get back into what the course talks about, is that abundance is a constant flow.
Yes.
You know, and that's why you were saying earlier, a lot of people, they want a quick fix, or they want something that's permanent, you know.
Right.
And that's why the lottery is doing so well. But for those who are tired of buying a lottery ticket and not winning, you have to realize that it is a lifelong process to stay in the creative flow of life. And that's why you do something every day, a little bit of invocation, a little bit of study, to keep your mind attuned to the flow.
And you know, I find what's really, really important, Kim, for me, is when I wake up in the morning, first thing, if I don't like co-create the day that I want to have before I get up by literally contemplating the things that I'm grateful for and waking up with this attitude of gratitude that I now have another opportunity to grow today, to really reach my potential and to become a better person today than I was yesterday, then it sets the tone, you know, for the entire day. And if I just jump out of bed and forget about, you know, creating the day that I want, the day just kind of goes into a spiral that's not as easy for me to control. So that's one of the suggestions that I would offer, is for people to get up in the morning, you know, in prayer and meditation. You know, Christians all over the world pray for, you know, heaven on earth. And sometimes I think, well, do you realize that we actually collectively have that ability to create heaven on earth? But so many people are just saying it and not feeling it in their heart and not believing it and seeing it as a possibility. And it is our thoughts that create reality. And if we don't start believing that we can create something better than this mess, and that we collectively have the power to change this reality, then we're not going to get there.
Yeah, and that's a good thought. I mean, you could take this course in abundance. You know, there are 3 books. It has a total of 24 lessons, and they're long. So each discourse takes up probably over an hour to read. So you don't want to read the whole thing necessarily, but you could start in the morning. You could read 5 or 10 minutes, or you can just read until there's a significant thought that really speaks to you.
Right.
And then you contemplate that, and then you give an invocation. See, the invocations in this Course in Abundance are much shorter than many of the other invocations I have. Once you have a little bit of momentum, you can give one in 15, 16, 18 minutes. And you can do that in the morning. You can do that in the evening before you go to bed. You spend a total of less than half an hour. And is that really that much time to spend to stay
to create
in the
your
flow?
day? I agree.
Yeah.
And I wanted to thank you for shortening those invocations. Because let me tell you, I can actually do them in about 10 to 12 minutes, getting into the flow. But because I've gotten used to these really long ones, it's just refreshing to be able to get up and go, I can get this done in 10 or 15 minutes and get my day started right. And, I wanted to ask you what your suggestion was, but what I've been doing is just kind of going through the list of the new invocations that you've released in Mind Over Matter, and then asking my higher self, my I Am Presence, okay, what's the right one for me right now? And I'll get an intuitive hit and just do that one, especially if I'm, getting ready to go somewhere or do something else.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, But for people who don't have the clear intuition on it, then you just start on one end and you just start step by step, because the Course really is set up as a very gradual step-by-step process, And of course it's set up by an ascended master who knows what it is like to be an embodiment in the heavy energies we face.
Right.
And so Mother Mary just guides you step by step. And I feel that it's actually amazing how the thoughts that are given out in the discourses, how they build gradually towards a higher and higher understanding.
Yeah, it is brilliantly and masterfully put forth, and it actually fills up a lot of the links, the missing links in our spiritual education, and it answers so many questions that my whole life I've been looking for these missing pieces. And I find it actually very delightful that I'm finally getting these answers, and I do understand that collectively the consciousness just wasn't ready for this material, and a lot of things just could not be released any earlier than they're being released. And I'm also appreciating the fact that you're with this progressive revelation. I think it was Mother Mary's dictation around Christmas where she pointed out that the newer materials are designed for this new age of Aquarius, the new invocations. Because it's easy to kind of get stuck on the old stuff, and continually do the old, and instead of understanding that we're supposed to be constantly self-transcending, constantly growing, constantly becoming made new, and moving forward. Because there tends to be this collective pull to keep us in the same place, doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and I think that's something that all spiritual people have to be aware of. There can come a point where you simply have grown as much as you can from a particular teaching or particular technique, and you are so comfortable with it, and it's so easy to believe what the ego says. If you just keep doing this for the rest of your life, you'll make it. But you also have to remember Einstein, who said if you keep doing the same thing and expect different results, And so I feel it's important to always stay on the cutting edge of what's out there. And, the Ascended Masters have released a lot of viable techniques over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
But many of them were released specifically for the transition period between Pisces and Aquarius. And now we have moved into Aquarius, and these new teachings and invocations they're releasing, they are specifically for Aquarius. And I feel that the people who are the front runners on the spiritual front really need to look at the latest and make use of that.
Well, I agree with you 100%, and I can feel the difference in the new stuff that's being released. I'm talking to Kim Michaels about his Course in Abundance. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN, and we'll be back after commercial break, wrapping this up on the Course in Abundance.
CRN travelers, relax at the beautiful Fountain Grove Inn and Conference Center in Santa Rosa, California. Come to quality and come to luxury. Experience the newly renovated guest rooms. They're generously sized and they're decorated in the Tuscan tradition. They have great, incredible pillow-top mattresses, luxurious linens, and down-filled comforters. The Fountain Grove Inn also offers complimentary Wi-Fi and internet access. There's warm cookies and coffee every evening in the hotel lobby, and you can visit the newly remodeled Equus Restaurant and Equus Lounge with its new wine bar. It's the ideal place to relax and enjoy a glass of wine and watch our What's Cooking on Wine show on CRN with host Larry Van Alst on Wednesdays. It's the Fountain Grove Inn, Hotel, and Conference Center located in the heart of Sonoma wine country. It's easily located in Santa Rosa off the 101 Fountain Grove Parkway exit. Call 707-578-6101. That's 707-578-6101 or visit fountaingroveinns.com.
So we're going to talk about Dandy Don's Ice Cream Sundae Bar in a Box. The Sundae Bar in a Box is $149.95. What that is 25 ice cream sundaes and all the toppings, all shipped to you with dry ice overnight, and you can have your own sundae bar. 25 scoops of ice cream, and you choose the flavors. 10 toppings, which is hot fudge, hot caramel, strawberry, marshmallow, whipped cream, stem cherries, rainbow sprinkles, chocolate sprinkles, peanuts, almonds, M&Ms, Oreos, granola, chopped up sugar cones. How do you get it? You go online to dandydons.com, DANDYDONS.com, and click on ice cream sundae bars. Like I said, you can pick your own ice cream flavors. Choose your own ice cream flavors. And what does it cost? $149.95 plus shipping. Go to dandydons.com and order it. DANDYDONS, Dandy Don's homemade ice cream. Bye.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Okay, we're back. Wrapping this up on Divine Love Talk with Kim Michael's new Course in Abundance. So Kim, let's close out with some practical suggestions and reminders for people who want to create more abundance in their life. I'll start out with repeating what Esther and Jerry Hicks said, that your thoughts and words are the reason your life unfolds as it does. Therefore, we must mind our thoughts and focus them solely and exclusively on the things that we want to create in our life and not on the lack of them. And so, Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, that is perfectly true, but you can't actually mind your thought from the level of the conscious mind.
Okay.
That's why the Course explains that there are 4 levels of the mind, and the highest of them is the level of identity. Okay. And your thoughts are already locked on a track by the sense of identity you have at the higher level. Mm-hmm. So that's why the Course is unique, because it takes you all the way to that level of identity and starts making changes there.
Oh, and you know, I like the fact that you point out in your work that we kind of start backwards. You know, we have the physical, emotional, mental, and the identity level, which is, you know, what we believe we are and how we identify ourselves, whether we identify ourselves as spiritual or just, you know, limited human beings. But if we start at the identity level, it kind of has that quantum effect of trickling down a lot easier to the other 3 lower bodies. So I appreciated that information, because I think that that's where a lot of our struggle is. We're struggling from the physical, trying to make it happen rather than starting at the identity level.
Yeah, or even at the mental, because in our Western culture, we are so intellectual and we are so mental.
Right.
And you just can't change your thought by using only thought. You have to go to that higher level.
Yeah. And so that's where I think the invocations are really, really powerful, because we're invoking spiritual light from, or source energy, and that comes through our 4 lower bodies. And you have a quote in one of the invocations that says, my mind forms a pipeline between my conscious awareness and my I am presence. I am increasing the size of the pipeline, whereby God is giving me more spiritual energy that is increasing my creative powers. And we were put here on earth to create abundance and to co-create with God. And we now, I think, have to make that decision if we want to exercise that power or continue to become victims.
That's true. And then in order to really get into the creative flow, we have to realize we have to break the old patterns and break free of the collective consciousness.
Right. And it's a daily practice. I'm not going to tell anybody that they can just, do it in one fell swoop.
Right.
So I would encourage you guys to go out and grab that Course in Abundance and start doing your due diligence. I also like the audiobook, Kim, because you can put it in your car when you're going to work and listen to the lessons over and over.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us on Divine Love Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant. We'll be back next week with more information from Kim's Course in Abundance. Thank you for joining us.
Shows sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound?
Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman, Barry Farber, and so many more. Entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Robert Conrad Show, The What's Cooking Show, and The What's Cooking on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, travel, food, wine, politics, there is something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN High Definition Sound. Log on to www.crntalk for listings and information on all your favorite shows. That's www.crntalk.com.
The radio channel